Hey guys, welcome to another GitLab HA video here today. So this is part 3 of our GitLab HA series. So in part 1 we got the internal load balancer, in part 2 we got the console service, part 3 we will be finally setting up the Postgres database service. That will be essentially hosting the database data for GitLab. This is a little bit more in tune of a lot. There's a lot more configuration than what we've done previously. So stay tuned. Hopefully we can get through it here pretty quickly. So let's do it. All right, so I did a little bit of prep work. So essentially on the Postgres nodes here, we will be following along with the Postgres configuration. So essentially we need to generate password hashes for all of these things in here because we'll be using it in our GitLab RB configuration. So I essentially, before this video, just set up using my Vault Warden password manager. We generate a few passwords, and we have just having a notepad right now of the passwords with what it should be. So in here, it essentially tells you SSH to one of the Postgres nodes. We don't have any Postgres nodes configured, so we will just SSH to our console node actually, because this is just running and generating a password MD5 using GitLab essentially. So we just need GitLab running. We don't necessarily need it to be installed on that specific node. So what we'll do here in here is now we will run the commands from here and generate the hashes that we will need. So we'll do that. We'll enter the password, which will be this password for the Postgres hash. So paste that, and we will get the hash then. So we know that that's the hash, and we'll do the same thing for the next few things as well, so that we can do this. Copy that, paste, and get that hash. And then we will do the replicator, paste that, replicator, paste, grab that hash, and then GitLab console. Should be the last one in regards in here. Oh. I slapped a few things and it didn't work out as I was expecting. There we go. And GitLab console, paste. Yep. Just wanted to make sure that was actually right. And then Patroni won't actually have a hash, but it's something that we configure. So that's just a hard-coded password in here. So that is something just to be aware about. So we keep this notepad on the side so that we know what we need. So after that, we will go and configure the GitLab RB. So this is going back to how we have in our Ansible GitLab RB as a Jinja 2 template in here, and we are configuring it based off of host names. So what we'll want to do is, so this will be for the Postgres node, so we can use Postgres because nothing else is named Postgres. So we will essentially get these going. So the first thing that we will look for is essentially roles again. And we will add another statement in here where it should be an elif, I believe. Elif Postgres in inventory host name. Then we want it to be roles. Oh, let's make sure that is actually right. Roles, but we want the Patroni role and PG bouncer role. PG bouncer role. And that should be good. Let me just double check that configuration because I want to make sure it's syntax correct. Because the last thing you want is to have to go back because your syntax is wrong. Yeah, so elif should be good, and we can use Postgres. Okay, So that configures that. So then we'll need to do the Postgres configuration. So we'll look for the listen address. So if Postgres in inventory host name, and if here, we will set the listen address to be 0000. So that means anyone can connect to it. Then we will configure the max replication slots for this, which looks like we'll be doing 6, so double the number of node databases. So we have 6. If Postgres in inventory host name, and if here, and then what we want to do is uncomment that. And then we'll also set the wall senders as well. Oh, no. Gotta make sure I do it in the fine. Yep. So, okay. So actually I can put this all together. We don't need to make an extra if statement. We'll just paste that down here. This should be 7 and we can comment that out. So that should configure for that. We don't want it to auto migrate either. So let's make sure auto migrate is set to false. So in here, we got the if statement for console because console also wants this to be false. So we want an or. So if console or Postgres in inventory host name. So either or, we will want to set this, which is pretty nice. So you can do multiple different things. Console services. So let's double check this here real quick. Console services. So this looks like that isn't configured. So let's configure that. So %if Postgres in inventory host name. We will set the console services, and we'll just copy and paste this configuration here, paste it there, and then we'll end if that. And then console monitoring, discovery monitoring. So same thing here, we'll add an or Postgres in inventory hostname, space. Make sure you get the space in. And then now we get to a little bit of the configuration. So this is where we will need to set up a few things. So let's make sure we get all the hashes right. So if Postgres in inventory hostname, we will set the PG bouncer user pass, which is the password hash for a PG bouncer. So we want this, copy that, and we'll set that here. And then we will end if this. Next thing is we want to set the SQL replication password. So MD5 hash of the Postgres Postgres password. So this is actually not the replicator. This is the Postgres password. So the top one. So you want actually this in here, and we'll want to do that. SQL replication user GitLab replicator. 1 second. Oh, sorry. Postgres replication password. Okay, never mind. Take that back. It should be this one. Yeah. It's that one. Sorry, I was misreading that. The next one will actually be the Postgres password. So if Postgres in inventory hostname, and if, and then comment this out. And then the next one is actually the SQL password. So this one will be the first hash. And we don't want the geo, so make sure you don't do the geo on accident. Postgres in inventory hostname, and this is the SQL hash. So this one will be the first one. 47. Did I actually copy paste that? Yeah. and then and if, and then this is the Padroni stuff that we'll add. So this is what the configuration for that will be, and this isn't hash. This is just by default. So if Postgres in inventory hostname, and if, then we'll configure it with what we have here. So we'll leave the username as Padroni because it makes sense, and then we'll just type in the password as a random password. We could variabilize these so that they aren't actually coded in, to the code repository, because you don't really want hard-coded passwords. Hashes you can kind of make work because they're not actually like, true passwords, they're hashed, so it's a different value. But we're going to do it like this. You can use Ansible Vault to make it more secure though, especially since you might have some more, passwords that actually make more sense. So next thing we'll do the trusted addresses here. So we'll paste that, remove this. If Postgres in inventory hostname, and if, and then this will be your essentially range. So in this case, mine will be 172.16.1.0/24. Try and see if, yeah. And then a space. Yep. So this will just be your home network or your private network if you're doing this in a different network. And then next part will be the PG Bouncer databases. So these will also be running stuff for this. So what we'll do is actually remove this here. We will copy this over and fill in the blanks. So let's just do if Postgres in inventory hostname, and then we'll end if here. So essentially this should be all good. PG Bouncer hash, that we will need to replace here with this PG Bouncer password hash. But then you should be set right there for that configuration. And we're almost done here. So we got node exporter, so that's another one. So this will be similar here. So we just need to add or Postgres in inventory hostname, as well as we need to do the Postgres exporter, which we will set here. If Postgres in inventory hostname, then we will have this. And if, and we'll set these to 0000, so that it will essentially listen on, and make sure you type it in right. And then we got the console configuration. So nothing too bad. Console configuration, because a lot of these are repeats, so you don't have to retype it in. That's what the best part about doing this as a template, because then you don't have to re-copy and paste all these every single time across 28 servers. Or Postgres in inventory hostname, and you can just do it like that. So what you can see here is essentially the rest of the stuff should be configured here, and then we can do a GitLab reconfigure here. Afterwards, we'll want to check the status, but this does not look like specifically in regards to actual configuration. This is just checking the status. So we don't actually have to put anything in regards to the playbook to do the post setup. So set up Postgres, commit that. And then once this is committed, we can run this on the 3 Postgres nodes as well. Okay, so that's done deploying, and that's kind of obnoxious, but it's okay. GitLab, we'll set up HA. So GitLab Postgres 1, GitLab Postgres 2, and GitLab Postgres 3 will now be configured. And we will launch this and let it run. So once it finishes, we will resume to that point, and then we can show the post configuration steps. All right, so that failed, but I took a look and I figured it out. I missed the brackets again. I'm telling you, this is going to be the end of me, like the not being able to get all the brackets. But let's double check here real quick that all the brackets and the formatting looks right for the if statements, because at the end of the day, this will just continue to error. And usually I don't make as many I don't usually it doesn't usually happen as often, but it's probably because I've been staring at a monitor for way too many hours. That's what happens when your day job and your actual like hobby is the same thing, that you're like, oh man, I should take a step back. So okay, that should fix it though. I think I got it. So fix, we'll commit that and we will rerun it. And then hopefully that should be the only error. Hopefully that should be the only error. And then we should be good. Okay, so that ran. And in this case, we'll just rerun it. I mean, technically I could just rerun it, but again, I'm gonna just copy and paste this in, run a new job. Boop. And then we'll fast forward to do the post configuration, post validation here. So, all right. So it ran to another error, but this one's great. And this one's hilarious. So, if you scroll down and you look, this actually says unsupported config value. And when you look at it, you're like, wait, what does that even mean? And then you realize, oh hey, look, well. Wait, is that? Oh, yeah. It's the same. It just didn't work. And that's because that is because it's not quoted, guys. So you gotta quote this, otherwise it will treat it as a actual value that it's looking for. Oh man. Welcome to the day. Welcome to the life of tech, guys. Fix password quoting. All right. Second time's the charm, because hopefully third time is not the charm. I do not need a third time here. All right, so that's good. And then we'll rerun this again for the third time, and we're gonna hope it works. We're just gonna hope it works. I will be posting the GitLab RB file for you guys too as well on my GitHub, in case you're interested in using it, so you don't have to run into all the issues that I'm running into. You will want to update some of the stuff like the DNS stuff, and I'll put in some like tags and whatnot too, so that you guys can update. But hopefully now this will actually be good. So GitLab RB stuff finished. The reconfigure might actually take a minute or two, so stay tuned and we'll see if it actually finishes correctly. All right, so after a few failures, we are back and it actually worked. So no more syntax errors, no more things that were missing in the config. GitLab did get reconfigured and restarted for the Postgres stuff. So what we can do here is now do the Postgres post configuration, which is more of a post validation in here. So we'll SSH root at GitLab postgres1.dragon.local. We'll accept the key, type in the password, and then we should be able to run the command here and see, hopefully, the cluster with three things: the primary node, the first and secondary node, and everything should be running and doing things as expected, or it will just freeze up and we'll question our lives here. So it's actually working. So we got it. So we see our leader, which is our first instance. We got 2 replicas and they are running, and we're all set. So that is working as expected, which is great. And that's pretty much it for the Postgres setup for GitLab HA. So In our next video, we'll be configuring the PG bouncer service to allow it to actually like load balance the stuff for our Postgres service. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.